right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo, El Commandante, Daryl Ortiz. We're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania,
2 weeks.
It's just getting weirder and weirder from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it has been, and I guess a lot of stuff starting to get telegraphed, but there's still a couple surprises that I'm kind of interested
Surprise is
in.
kind of like this is how I feel like the WWE creative team now has gotten to the point where they don't have a plan anymore. And they're just
No.
they're throwing things at a dartboard. Like this really how getting through the last couple of weeks, and especially Raw and SmackDown this past week, there were a few things that happened that for me was like, I don't feel like they really thought this through. I feel like they were making some last minute changes or adjustments or pivots. Maybe they're worried because their tickets haven't sold out for WrestleMania and it's 2 weeks
That's
away.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, because it feels like a lot of just Hail Marys that are getting thrown out there.
Yeah.
One of which got mentioned was John Cena is now the host of WrestleMania, and which is great. I mean, it was like that's purely being done because they feel like there's not enough hype around it, and they need to get tickets sold. So surprise, surprise, John Cena is going to be hosting WrestleMania. But there were a number of other additions to the card and wacky changes that happened. But let's start with what happened on Raw.
Yeah, let's start with
work
Raw.
our way through there.
So, Raw, we had it at the world famous Madison Square Garden, the house that Vince McMahon's father built. Right? And so we have, of course, Cody Rhodes opened the show with his, bunch of Cody chants at Madison Square Garden, obviously because he's normally on SmackDown. He came out on Raw because, of course, he had to. Stephanie McMahon, to everyone's surprise, interrupted. My surprise included. I did not expect her to show up. She had an updated theme song, too. I'm like, okay, Steph. She was actually real quick to remind the New York crowd that this was the house that her grandfather built. She warned Cody. This version of Randy's diabolical. Dusty understood that better than anyone, and Cody is not his father. And that, of course, lit something in Cody. She told him he can't beat this version of Randy. Cody fired back, of course, said he knows everything Orton has done, including things too vile to air. And he said he lost his respect when he was, of course, he talked about the dark
destroying that toilet while they were traveling overseas. Yeah, we've all heard about that one. He ripped the urinal off the wall.
Yeah, so
we've seen the podcast, Cody. Like we know all the other stuff.
Yes, exactly. And he refuses to be a student anymore. Of course, he told Stephanie that she's right, that he's not his father. Then he busted out his own line and said she isn't hers either. But I'm like, you know what? That's actually a compliment.
Yeah, I mean,
been coming out, but she took offense to it and she slapped him.
Considering everything that's happened with Vince McMahon, that is like the ultimate compliment that got paid.
I'd be like, yes, thank you. I am not. And of course, still reeling from it. Told him that she's trying to help him. She needs him to understand that Randy Orton isn't just listening to the voices, and is listening to someone else. And that's really the important thing that she said all night, right? Because obviously the mystery caller, she dropped a little breadcrumb in front of us, of course, a week or two before WrestleMania, where, she's an ally, or, we don't know, right? We don't know if she's just trying to like prod and poke, or she thinks that he can't do it. I hope, honestly, this is just kind of, we know that Cody mentioned that she faced that version of Randy and she was able to get through it. But we know, of course, the 2009 Viper run, that was historic, and that's what they're kind of insinuating. But we got more on that later. But again, this was an okay. I like the segment, except for the whole like you're not your father. I don't know, that's a good compliment. It's not a put down, but I get what they're doing. They're talking about the wrestling legacy and all that good stuff. So I mean, it was an okay. This could have been on SmackDown, but because it was a Madison Square Garden,
it should have been on SmackDown. I could tell they only did it because it was MSG, and I feel like they wanted Stephanie for the segment, and she's like, "I'm in New York, and I'm only going to be here for this one. I'm not going to be on SmackDown." So if we do it from MSG, like this is really what it felt like, because he's not he's not defending the World Championship. He's defending WWE Championship. He's not defending against somebody from Raw. So there's really no reason for him to be there. So like that,
other than his own safety.
Silly. He should have just stayed on SmackDown. But this felt like it was done also to tease a little bit. And then all the speculation was, was the person on the phone with Randy, is it Vince McMahon? And that's why they mentioned him. And they're doing this as a feeler. And so all the speculation that came out of this online
I
I
mean,
think also helped.
after SmackDown, I kind of
Yeah.
wished it was Vince.
Oh, I know. And
But
that's
we'll
what
get to that. Sorry,
that's
we'll
what
get to.
made what happened on SmackDown even worse because there has been so much anticipation. Who is it? Isn't Vince McMahon? Maybe it's The Rock. Maybe it's Cowboy Bob Orton. Maybe it's Ted DiBiase Jr. Who is in the ear of Randy Orton? So much anticipation. It was who's in the box, who's in the crate,
It was
levels of
Gold Dust.
anticipation.
I'm just kidding.
And well, we'll talk about that when we get to SmackDown, but it
Yes.
was not
So
any of those people.
yeah. So after that, we had the World Tag Team titles on the line in a street fight, which you obviously know that whenever there's heels in a street fight, naturally those titles are going to change hands.
Yeah.
Obviously, so because I'm pretty sure Naomi is nearing the end of her pregnancy, going to give birth
Hey, I
soon.
thought she gave birth already,
I
actually.
think she
Like,
did. No, that was Rikishi. That was somebody else's.
was somebody else because I thought they had said that she had given birth. I don't know. I thought
Somebody
a
help us
baby
out in the comments. And
made a
they did
debut.
great, but either way, it's inevitable because obviously it's already around that time. Jimmy needs to break, so that's usually what happened here.
Yeah.
This was actually I was torn because the Usos weren't really doing anything with the tag championships. They weren't. I mean, I love the Usos, but let's be honest, they really weren't doing much. LA Knight was on commentary for whatever reason. Logan Paul's mother was in the front row with brass knucks. Weird.
Why?
And yeah,
Because this is a street fight. Like
yeah,
there was a whole give me the knuckles, and she like smuggled them to him, and I'm like, it's a street fight. He should have just walked in wearing them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I mean,
all the let's be really covert about this. Let's make sure nobody sees it. Give me the hand up. And then LA Knight's like, that's a bridge too far. I need to interfere now because you got the brass knuckles. I'm like, guys, it's a street fight. This part made so much. It made so little sense when it happened.
Yeah.
That
and then
what
like, made lesser sense is I Show Speed, who's sitting next to Logan Paul's mother, got pulled over the barricade and accidentally knocked out LA Knight with them, and then Logan Paul
because he got
Jimmy
cursed by
Dan
Danhausen.
Yeah, he got cursed by Danhausen. Which, if you look at the like we talked about, if you look at like it was WWE's TikTok where LA Knight like destroyed I Show Speed and during one of his streams, that it was hilarious. It was funny. So I like it. Whatever. Of course, after that, the Austin Theory just flopped his arm over Jimmy Uso after he got hit with the knuckles for the win. Vision new tag team champions. Overall, the finish was dumb. Multiple outlets also graded this match poorly as a result. The superplex through a table spot actually I feel should have ended the match, and having Theory kick out kind of made the whole thing feel like just like him no selling going through a freaking table. That was not cool. It gives them again. I don't. It gives the Usos, I guess, something to chase, but again, makes the street fight mean something is just just goofy at this point.
It's goofy, and I love Danhausen, but the problem that the WWE creative is doing now is they are relying too much on the Danhausen curse to determine matches now. Because he keeps having he got cursed. Well, you saw that on SmackDown with the tag match with Miz and
that I did Wilson. Like.
Yeah, no, there's times to do it when it's fun, but you can't do it every single show. You can't have people get cursed every show, and that is becoming the determiner for the match. So that way, it's like, well, if they lost, they were cursed, so everyone save face. Like this is the new surprise roll up: is Danhausen getting cursed? Is cursing people to where they can't win? And I'm like, don't use it too much.
Yeah,
keep it fresh, keep it fun, but don't have it be the thing that determines every time that you want to have people save face. You throw a curse in, and it kind of fixes it.
Yeah. I get you. Yeah, it's. I mean, this will go on. Obviously, they mentioned Tom Brady a ton, so I assume he will be there. Obviously, they're gonna be in Vegas. Tom Brady owns the Raiders, so I mean, he's gonna be there. So it's his stadium technically. So
technically,
after that, we had Liv Morgan calling out Stephanie Vaquer to surprise Roxanne Perez return. Mm-hmm. Of course, before that happened, Liv invoked the mother of her in a promo, and Vaquer ran out ready to fight, but Roxanne's music hit. She returned to ambush Stephanie Vaquer from behind, and then Liv Morgan landed actually a pretty brutal chair assisted oblivion, which is actually pretty cool to see. But I like how legit Roxanne Perez is coming to be in the main roster, and then pairing her with Liv Morgan. Really, I like them as a duo. I really do. And notice I said duo, not tag team. Like I'd rather them, if let's just say if Liv were to obtain some type of gold, Roxanne would get the opposite gold, single style, and they just kind of work with each other. I feel they would be like a great duo. But I mean, we'll see.
Well, yeah, it's a duo, not team. And the other thing I'll mention too earlier about the Austin Theory and Logan Paul being the new tag champions. I just want to say this is the continuation of WWE hates real tag teams
Yeah.
because Austin Theory and Logan Paul are not a real tag team.
No, they're
They
not.
are
They're in a stable together, but
they're in
that
a
doesn't
stable
make them a
together, but
tag
not
team.
a true tag team. And they are the Raw tag champions. You have R-Truth and Damian Priest as the SmackDown tag champions, who are not a real tag team either.
Yeah.
Where are the War Raiders? Where are the War Raiders? We haven't seen them since Obafemi, I think, squashed them. So I guess they're taking time off. So I'm like, you have so many real tag teams, and these guys the tag champions. So I would have to expect them just to put Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez together as a tag team officially
Again,
and just kind of keep moving with them. But I'm like, just keep them as a duo. It's I don't know. This is just that continuation of WWE for some reason has a problem with like real legit tag teams.
Well, speaking about having problems with legit tag teams, we had the women's tag title matches. The Irresistible Forces versus Bayley and Lara Valkyria, which, surprise, surprise, as I said, will end in a disqualification.
Exactly. I think exactly as we called it last week. We were talking about like, in a DQ. Was it Fatal 4-Way?
Fatal 4-Way. Now we're gonna have Irresistible Forces versus Bayley and Lyra versus Charlotte and Alexa versus the Bella Twins, which I'm terrified for because this is gonna give a credible reason to let the Bella Twins win the tag title.
Totally, this is it. This is telegraphing it 100%. Now they don't. There's no way they don't win it. There's no way they don't win the titles.
Yeah. After that, we had actually. I'm loving every bit of this. Obafemi and Brock Lesnar stare down. Of course, Paul Heyman comes out with Brock Lesnar in his actual ring gear.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar, for his age, I will say, looks phenomenal. Like that man, like does not age. Apparently, he just gets stronger and more jacked. Apparently,
he doesn't age. Stronger and more jacked. As he's closing in on 50 years old, he looks bigger and more jacked than he's ever looked. I wonder how that happened.
I wonder, but anyway. Special supplements. It's a protein shake.
He's talking to Randy Orton's pharmacist as well. I'm telling you.
But I like this because Paul Heyman did a good promo. He was trying to say, hey, you know what? Oba got the best of him, yes, but he wasn't ready to fight. Now he's ready to fight. Come on out, Oba. So then Oba
he was out in his ring gear and everything. He was like ready to go in his gear.
He's like, all right. And I get it. He's trying to say like it's a mental switch, right? Because that's what they usually say about combat fighters is that it's like a mental switch. When they're not ready to fight, they're a different person. Okay, cool. It's a psychology thing. Obafemi comes out to answer it, no fear, which I love. I love that both men don't fear each other. I know Brock Lesnar looked a little surprised and caught off guard a couple times, but this looked good. Of course, Heyman again running by the Hall of Fame list victims like Goldberg, Braun, Ambrose, Lashley, Styles. Of course, boos all over because they're booing him. But Obafemi came out, and then Adam Pearce tried to stop it. He failed to stop it, and this is where you kind of add more credibility to the feud. Triple H had to come out from Gorilla and get in between them because Triple H. Funny enough, Adam Pearce used to wrestle. I don't know if anyone knows that, but Adam Pearce actually he actually is in pretty good shape himself. He can wrestle, but he couldn't handle them. So Triple H is like, fine, I'll do it myself. And Triple H gets in between them and stops them and starts, telling them to stop. And so I think that's a great visual because it's good and it's worrisome because you have to know that the match has to really pay off because this type of build that they're doing is like two just chaotic forces coming together to just fight. And that's what everyone's expecting. And if this is anything less than that, if this ends up being like a 5-minute squash match or a 10-minute squash match, like they're gonna get booed out the freaking building. I think this has to be like a brawl. This has to be like a straight up just like beat the crap out of each other. And like I honestly I don't know who will win this one. I'd be okay with either of them winning. I would hope that Brock Lesnar would do business the right way and let Oba put Oba over because that's the right thing to do because he's the newcomer that they're building up as a huge monster in the WWE. And I like this because they're not immediately just throwing a title on Oba and they're not throwing him a titles match. They're letting him build organically. The crowd was already doing the Oba chants before anything else happened. So again, I enjoyed this segment. What about you?
The segment was this is the lone feud that I'm excited for WrestleMania. This is the only one that I'm excited for. This is the only one that I think that they've really built well and they've really built the anticipation on. I like the fact that they've made Oba look like a foil to Lesnar in this one. where Lesnar kind of he's had like 3 outings against him and doesn't really quite know what to do. I hope that they put Oba over him. I really do, because I feel like this is the logical progression that has to happen here.
Yeah.
It's his time, and let him move forward, get the victory. I think it should be a longer match. Like, it should really be a showcase for both of them. But this ought to be a changing of the guard match. This
Yeah.
really should be a passing of the torch, and we'll talk about that all the time. This should be a passing of the torch match. I hope they don't fumble it. I just hope they don't. Like, they're doing so good with it. It's 2 weeks to go.
It's a lot of pressure for it.
Don't do anything. And I feel like on Monday, like, Oba's going to get beaten up by Lesnar.
Maybe.
Like they're
That's the
gonna
natural
do it, like,
progression.
right towards the end. They're going to have him get one over on him before, which I'm like, okay, that's fine, because generally if you like lose right before on the go home show, you're going to win. So I'm kind of okay with that. But at least have some little bit of doubt get sewed in there at some point. But they've really done a great job of building this. Side note on this, though, the WrestleMania posters, when they do like the little chyrons where they show, oh, Bafemi versus Brock Lesnar. I'm not a big fan of the fact that they're really overly photoshopping those, because I don't know if you all have noticed, Obafemi has like a full 8-pack in those pictures. And I'm like,
he doesn't.
Obafemi is a great shape, but he does not have an 8-pack in real life. You know, you've seen him walk around. He's got a kind of a big midsection. He's got a nice layer of fat over there. Like, it's not a completely defined, super.
It's
like,
subtle.
Raviol. It's very, very subtle. And there are times where he looks a little bloated, but I'm like, he's in great shape. But when you see the WrestleMania poster, it's like complete, like, he looks like.
Well, I think WWE has a hard time accepting that not all jacked guys are like bodybuilders. Like, he's probably more like strength. That's probably
why. And he's has more like that powerlifting body on him.
Yeah.
But they have him like, he looks like Mr. Olympia, and in the pictures, I'm like, you guys really Gunther the same thing when they did the one with Gunther. He's got like an 8-pack, and I'm like, we know Gunther doesn't have an 8-pack either. He's got a defined midsection, but it's not like that. So like that, for me, it's a little bit more of like TKO doctoring stuff too much. And I was like, guys, like, that kind of takes, those little things kind of take me out of that, with the fact that they just can't. It's like, stop airbrushing and photoshopping every single wrestler. Because there was a point where they're showing all of the matchups, and I'm like, none of these people look like them. So.
They do a lot. I've noticed that too, and it's. I get it. They're trying to pull an
presentation.
Audience in. Presentation, whatever. It's fine. After that, we had Intercontinental Championship match, Penta versus Kofi Kingston. Obviously, Penta retained. Kofi got his title shot here. He made it competitive despite Grayson Waller's interference. Obviously, Penta absorbed the most of it, hit the Mexican Destroyer, retained. Most importantly, Penta grabbed the mic after the match, announced he would defend the Intercontinental title match in a ladder match. And I love that. It confirmed the participants being was it JD McDonough, Javon Evans. Who else? Rusev.
Is Kofi in that one, or
no? Kofi's not in that one. It is. Oh, geez, I just had it too. But anyways, we'll go over that when I go over the WrestleMania card after this. But anyway,
Intercontinental multi,
and I love that.
That's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a
especially
good one.
You got Javon Evans, and you got Dragon Lee. So it's going to be awesome. I'm excited.
That'll be cool.
After that, we had Paul Heyman out there finding out that Seth Rollins, he was mocking Seth Rollins, to find out Seth Rollins got released because they didn't hold the charges. Obviously, we talked about that last week. That's
because there was no reason to have charges.
And so he also mentioned that Seth Rollins has been cleared for action, which of course he attacks Paul Heyman. But then, surprise, surprise, of all people, Gunther is the one that put Seth Rollins to sleep. That was interesting.
It's like, why? And this goes back to, I think they realized, oh shoot, we haven't done anything with Gunther for WrestleMania. I guess we better do something with him. Seth doesn't have anybody to go against. Like, Gunther's not a part of Paul Heyman's group. Like, this really is 100% random. They have no feud. They've had no history.
I'm curious
together.
as to how they're gonna explain this one, because obviously they're gonna have to explain it next week in the go home show to give it some kind of stakes. So we'll either get a promo from Gunther or get a promo from Heyman, or both. Because I'm not sure why Gunther is there. So I don't know.
And this goes back to, it feels like creative throwing stuff to the dartboard now. It's like Seth Rollins versus Gunther. That sounds good. There's this feels like, again, the desperation of, hey, Gunther for us, that should be a good matchup. Who doesn't want to see Seth Rollins versus Gunther?
But see, here's the downside. Here's the downside. This is gonna be Seth Rollins' first match back from his injury. Usually that person wins. That means you're gonna let Gunther lose. They
Well, I
haven't been
know
letting
that's
Gunther
where I'm like,
lose.
there's
It's
going to
gonna
be
be a
some
no finish.
nonsense.
Watch.
There's going to be a no finish. You're going to have Braun Breaker pop back up because I think Braun's technically back. They were saying that he was cleared, but they didn't put him in a match against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. But he's technically cleared to come back already. So they're going to do some dumb
Yeah,
rundown where
maybe.
Breaker's going to run down and attack him, and that's a shame because that just feels like a waste of a WrestleMania spot
Yeah,
at
why not
this
have it
point.
happen now?
Yeah,
Then
just
that's
do
your
it.
Mania match.
Yeah,
Like,
just
but
do it
yeah.
now if that's the case. If he's healthy and he can go, do it now. But this just feels thrown together because it is. It's
Yeah.
totally thrown together.
Speaking of blinking, you miss it. Raquel Rodriguez versus Io Sky. That was a fine match. It just ended in a well, it just ended. It wasn't anything crazy. It was, Asuka was there. You had, of course,
Yeah, it's like Raquel just kind of like hit a Tahana bomb, got a pin. Like it was
yeah,
very
it
by
was
the book. It was like,
yeah, it was
that's
very
fine.
simple. So I mean, nothing crazy there, but that just kind of furthers that storyline, I guess. And then after that, we had the main event segment, call it what you will.
Yeah,
Roman Reigns came out asking for acknowledgement, of course, and got a genuinely warm Madison Square Garden response.
yeah,
CM Punk appeared. It went straight to verbal, back and forth. Punk calling Reigns wounded, isolated, chief without a tribe. Roman Reigns tried to leave. CM Punk grabbed him, dragged him back, and they started fighting. Um, just again, pull apart brawl. Pulled up Roman Reigns pulled up CM Punk to the announce table, but CM Punk was the one that drove Roman Reigns through with the power bomb through the table. Struggled to get
yeah.
Roman Reigns up. That was kind of scary at first, but he did it. Then CM Punk sat in his famous cross-legged stance on the arena floor next to the wreckage, started leading the crowd in a Roman Reigns chant while looking directly down at him. So yeah, then he got in the barricade, shook hands, and kind of walked away. So
And we didn't have Roman sitting there laughing, going ha 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 ha.
yeah,
I'm
he actually sold
okay.
it.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah,
He actually sold it. Yeah,
yeah,
which
that's
which
how
is
it's
kind
done,
of like
Punk.
okay, good, but but it also just doesn't explain the fact that CM Punk got hit with essentially 3 finishers in a row and was totally fine and laughing it off the week before.
Yeah,
So this was fine, but it's also just dragging out too long. Like
yeah.
like how much are you gonna guys just
It's
gonna
copy and
job
paste
and
from
make fun
last
of each
week.
other, copy paste, and then reversing the
Yeah.
positions from
Uno
here.
reverse. Yep.
Yeah.
But that was Raw in a nutshell. There, it was okay. Nothing crazy. Typical run of the mill Raw episode. So I think that's just yeah, that's it. Just now we gotta get ready for the go home show
Yeah,
next week.
and
So
then they officially announced Dom versus Finn Balor
mm-hmm.
for the ice for Dom versus Finn Balor, not for the IC title. Dom versus Finn Balor just for a
yeah, because
grudge
there's no
match.
IC title on Dom
There's no
anymore.
IC title on him anymore. He's not putting up the AAA title, so it's just Dom. Because I remember seeing when I saw the thing that Dom was holding a title, and I was like, okay, it's the AAA title.
Yeah.
So their grudge match is on for WrestleMania. Got officially announced.
But SmackDown.
SmackDown. Randy Orton out in his hometown of St. Louis. Of course, the crowd was going nuts for him. Randy, of course, just made fun of the crowd, made fun of Cody. Like, I'm doing this for my real home, not St. Louis. And they're like, yeah, we're not your
Yeah,
real home.
screw us, Randy.
Yeah,
Woo!
screw us. We suck. He's doing it for his family in the front row. Basically, he's going to be the champ. Cody's going to lose. That was really it. Cody came out and he didn't say anything. He just started brawling. He answered with his fists and started brawling immediately. And then we got out of the crowd, out of the blue, dressed exactly like Randy Orton in his shirt and the same pants, Pat McAfee. Who kicked Cody in the balls, and then they just beat him up. And then Pat McAfee got on the microphone and just went full heel, making fun of St. Louis and the fans, their sport teams, made fun of the current state of the business. Basically, was like, "I'm an Attitude Era guy. The Attitude Era was awesome. Everybody sucks." That's basically the promo that he cut. Was I wish this were the Attitude Era. The
Mm-hmm.
crowd reaction was pretty quiet for this because I think everybody was like, "What the heck? Seriously? Like Pat McAfee? You're the guy
Yeah.
on the phone?" So he was going off on a tear, but there was not much reaction to it. I think they
I
were
think everyone was
hoping he was going to
confused.
cascade of boos. They were
Yeah.
hoping that he was going to get booed out of the building. They thought it was this brilliant thing. Nobody really cared. Everybody was confused. This was so weak for me. Like I was sitting here going, this was as much of a, I'll say, letdown initially as Who's in the Box. Because here's the thing. Here's the difference between these two things. There was so much anticipation around Who's in the Box that when Danhausen came out of it, people were confused and they booed. But Danhausen is great, and Danhausen immediately got over with the fans. Like the next week, he was fine because he's a great character and he's got charisma and he's fun. People already know Pat McAfee. They kind of know what he's about. He's cool. I don't particularly care for him, and you guys have heard me try to rant about him all the time. Him doing a heel turn is probably one of the most least convincing things. He's still got to go do his radio show. He's going to be a heel the whole time on his radio show. Like, how is he going to balance this? So him trying to do this heel thing now for how long? I don't know. Him being the legacy person that's all of a sudden in Randy Orton's ear doesn't make any sense either. This feels random. This feels like the people at TKO thought, hey, maybe Pat can help us goose the ratings before we get into WrestleMania. I don't know how. I assume he's going to be in Randy's corner, and then I assume that Jelly Roll is going to be in Cody's corner. Like, because they can't do it as a tag match, but I'm assuming it's going to be like clearly he's going to be there managing and ringside. Mm-hmm. So Jelly Roll, I was trying to figure out like what are they doing with him because they reintroduced him right before Mania. They had him wrestle his first singles match. They had him get RKO'd. So I imagine that Jelly Roll will be there for moral support, and you'll have Pat and him doing shenanigans during this WWE Championship match, which sucks because it should just be about the WWE title, not about like ringside silliness. Mm-hmm. But I was not a fan of this at all. But what did you think?
So I feel like this is them still trying to get Randy booed, right? And I think they brought Pat McAfee. Despite anyone's opinion, I think Pat McAfee is great on the mic. He can talk, you know.
He can. I just don't like him.
So I know. But at the same time, I think the explanation kind of I had a day to kind of marinate on it, kind of think about it, right? But it's kind of like we've talked about how like now it's like very predictable. We've been able to predict stories. I've been able to predict some stories well, and I think the Attitude Era was a little more unpredictable in that aspect. I think they took jabs, of course, at AEW, talking about the failing ratings and the ticket availability numbers. And I think what made this awkward was that I think Pat McAfee was visibly nervous. Yeah, because he didn't know what was going to happen. It was annoying me that he kept fixing his sunglasses because he was sitting them at the very bottom of his nose, which was really, it was distracting. But anyways, he was trying to explain everything, and Randy Orton was just trying to find different ways to beat the crap out of Cody, kind of saying like, dude, hurry up, I'm running out of ideas here. But I think it's just nervousness, right? But I think that Pat McAfee in the corner is a ratings boost attempt. I think it's a ticket sales attempt. I think it's, hey, ticket sales are low. Sprinkle in more celebrities, and we got more later. But sprinkle in more celebrities. Celebrities will drive ticket sales. They won't. I mean, let's be honest, they won't. I think part of it is that ticket prices have gotten so ridiculously overpriced. For WWE.
Well, yeah, they're totally pricing. They're pricing a lot of the families out of it. They're pricing a lot of people. Like the nosebleed tickets for WrestleMania are insanely expensive.
Yeah, they're like $3,000, I think, or $2,000. I think it's ridiculous. And then, knowing us fans knowing, I feel this is also the fans reacting to how we know that the next WrestleMania is going to be in Saudi. And I think for the inevitable future, Royal Rumble and WrestleMania will be in Saudi, which is terrible. And I think it's not a good idea. Fine. Okay, one. But like going forward, it's...
I mean, it's because WrestleMania is... So here's my soapbox. WrestleMania is this worldwide phenomenon event. Why are you going to host WrestleMania in a place where you have so many restrictions around what you're allowed to do?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, because it's supposed to be about pageantry and spectacle. And you're going to go to the place where you have the least amount of flexibility for pageantry and spectacle. Yeah. Like, come on. Like, let's just be honest here. That's ridiculous. No amount of money that you're getting paid to do that, you're going to absolutely stunt whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish in putting on a program for the fans, like for the real worldwide fans, versus we're going to come over here and now play this game of appeasement with the Saudi group. That's stupid. Like, just don't do it. Don't do it. And I was fine with them doing we're going to do our own greatest Royal Rumble. Okay, well, if you want to just do a one-off that's their own thing,
go ahead.
Fine. Crown Jewel, we're making our own event. Fine. That's totally okay.
Make your own championship, sure.
Yeah, and make your own Crown Jewel title. Do that. That's totally okay. Do whatever you want. And if people don't want to participate in it for whatever reason, they don't have to. But you can't build an entire year's worth of storylines and then try and get to WrestleMania and be like, all right, well, if you're a part of the storyline, you got to be a part of this, period. Or let us know ahead of time so that we can write you out of it. Like and everybody, all the ladies, you need to be in bodysuits. You can't do anything cool. Like you can't, you have to work around all these restrictions.
Yeah.
So I just have a real big problem with that. But
Same.
you know,
But yeah,
anyway.
so I think this is just, I don't know. Their attempt trying to do it. I get why, I get the whole attitude era thing. I like that it calls back to why Randy's being the way he is. Hopefully
Yeah.
this means this is a more brutal match. Of course, that was that.
Yeah, that was that. And then after this, we got, speaking of that, was that Rhea Ripley versus Michin, because you know how this goes. Like, you always have to fight through all the cronies. Like, Jade had no cronies, so she had to get cronies so that Rhea could fight her way through the cronies to get to the final boss, because this is always how they do it. So, Rhea Ripley versus Michin, this is way too competitive, in my opinion. Like, it
Yeah.
was a long match. It was way too competitive, considering Rhea Ripley should have walked through her. She did not. Yes, of course, BFAB and Jade were ringside for distractions and shenanigans, but it still shouldn't have been that competitive. Rhea did get the submission victory, and then of course BFAB and Michin, or BFAB Michin jumped in afterwards, and then Jade joined in, and they were all attacking. And then it was like, oh, Io Sky's music, what? And I'm like, Io Sky's like currently friend. Like, what are you talking about? Like, why is this a surprise? Io's
Oh,
here.
because she's on Raw.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Like she couldn't go to the other show. Like that's never happened.
Switcheroo.
Like we literally had Cody on Monday night. It's literally never happened where one superstar's gone to the other show.
This is insane.
She ran down, and that's all it took. So all it took was Io Sky again, highlighting the fact that Rhea shouldn't have needed really any help. If Io was able to even the odds, even though it was still 3-on-2, she went out there and cleared everybody out, and then they stood tall, and the segment was over. This was pretty much by the book, killing time till WrestleMania.
Yeah,
as well.
Just giving her something to do before WrestleMania. I feel the same way. It was there. I mean, I feel that Rhea should have just like ran through Michin.
Yeah, she
I
should
love
have
Michin as well,
but
I think she should just walk through her, and then then they could have done the post match beatdown and call it a day. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. After this, speaking of is what it is. After this, we had Solo and the MFTs and Tama Tonga like, hey, why are we fighting for this stupid lantern? Which I'm like, good point, Tama. I agree. Why is this still going on? And then basically Solo was like, you can go fight for it. And then Tama was like, all right. And he was like, don't mess this up. Like everything about this segment felt like a couple of like 12-year-old drama class students.
Yeah.
It was really, really bad. But it set up, it was Tama Tonga versus Uncle Howdy. And then you had Solo out to try to help, which of course he didn't end up helping. And then Tama had told him ahead of time, like, don't come out there, I'm going to do it myself. Of course, he ended up distracting Tama, and this allowed Howdy to get the sister Abigail out for the win. And then afterwards, Tama was just like, here you go, and gave the lantern back to the Wyatts and was like, hey, I'm kind of done with the shenanigans, and just kind of gave it back. So the lantern's back in the Wyatt's possession in the most anticlimactic way possible. This, of course, is just kind of fueling more for the fallout between Solo and Tama that they've been trying to build for a while, or Tama just with the MFTs in general. They've been teasing that with Shinsuke Nakamura, among others. So this is just the continuation of that. So it was fine, but it just really felt like, hey, we're done. We're kind of done with this angle. Again, creative not really knowing how to get out of it. It's like, just hand him back the lantern. That's it.
I mean, a ladder match would have been great, but it's all good.
Yeah. Lantern, and they might still do one. I'm still counting on like because they said they're not done with the Wyatts. So I'm still counting on like the SmackDown before WrestleMania to be like a ladder match or something with them. But we'll figure it. See.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, it was okay. I'm worried because it was just Uncle Howdy out there, and I know WWE loves to release wrestlers. So my worry is that this was just so they can release most of the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. Next, we had Trick Williams out with Little Yachty, I believe. Little Yachty. I'm not hip with all the new artists, but I like that the announcer was like, please welcome Grammy award-winning nominee. And I'm like, Grammy award-winning nominee? Like, that's not a thing. Either you're a Grammy award winner or you're a Grammy nominee. You cannot be a Grammy award.
I think he meant to say nominee. Grammy nominated.
He meant to say nominee, but he announced him as Grammy award-winning nominee because we are making up new titles now. So they basically just cut a promo about Trick Williams. It's going to be his first WrestleMania appearance, and it's great. Rapped a lot about ginger related items, obviously a knock on Sammy being a ginger. Little little racism slipped in there. Sammy
He ain't
interrupted.
wrestling with a little without a little.
I got a little bit of racism there. You wouldn't be wrestling without it. Sammy interrupted and basically said, "Geez, all show and no go," is basically what he called Trick Williams. And he said he would humble him at WrestleMania. And then Sammy was actually getting all the boos out of this, and then Trick was getting all the love, which is hilarious because Trick Williams is the heel here, and they were loving on Trick and they were hating on Sammy, which is fine with me. And then you had Carmelo Hayes basically out to interrupt, and he was dressed for a match and demanded a rematch. And then Sammy was like, "Hey, look, I agree you need a rematch, but you're gonna have to wait till after WrestleMania. This is non-negotiable for all of 20 seconds." And then was like, "Never mind, I'll give you a match tonight." And that was the main event. So they spent a lot of time on this segment.
They did.
Which this also goes back to, this is why SmackDown should not be a 3-hour show, because they've spent entirely too much on this segment with them going back and forth, and it was awkward and it took too long because you could tell they were just like, we need to fill time here.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny, this is similar to like Randy Orton. They're trying to get Trick Williams booed as a heel because Trick Williams is the heel.
Yeah, he is the heel.
In this feud, Trick Williams is the heel, but he's so over with the crowd that he can call Sami Zayn all kinds of ginger related things and the crowd will go for it. Like, it's insane.
All over. He's like, ginger snap, ginger beer, gingerbread, and everyone's like, yeah, make fun of that redhead. Get him out of here.
But it goes to tell you, Sami Zayn obviously showing that he's obsessed not just with the title, with having a WrestleMania moment. And that's why he hesitated. He knew that if he knew that, and he knew he probably couldn't beat Carmelo Hayes, and that it was a real risk that he wouldn't be at WrestleMania. That's the only reason he was back and forth on it. And obviously, that was the whole concept of it. And Carmelo Hayes had a valid reason. If it wasn't for Trick Williams, interfering, everything wouldn't have won. So that it was okay. It kind of just laid the groundwork for the match, the main event, really later on.
Yeah. And that's all it was trying to do. And then after this, we had Aleister Black versus Matt Cardona after they argued backstage earlier. Mm-hmm. And Cardona got hit with a black mass. It was a good match. It was just one of those, like, the reason why Cardona lost, it was kind of being put on. He's still recovering from the wrist injury from Randy Orton breaking the bone in his wrist. He's still working with the soft cast. It was fine. It was good. It was just kind of like I wasn't super interested in it. And again, they kind of scapegoated the fact that he lost to, and he's still working through an injury. But it felt like it was a pretty clean loss to me.
It was a clean loss. It was, because he didn't tap him out. He hit him with the black mass.
Hit him with the black mass, and that was
It'd be different if he kept that Kimura on and then he tapped out. Okay, cool. You'd be like, oh, because of the wrist, right? But he hit him with the black mass, and maybe that should have been the finish to kind of prove that they prove Aleister Black's point. I think that would have made Aleister Black a little more well calculated, to be like, afterwards he could have told Cardona, like, I told you, you're getting over your head and you're not letting yourself heal. Like, I beat you simply off of going off of your injury. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that could have been more point proven, but what do I know? I'm just a guy in a room.
I know, right? Well, and then after this, we had Charlotte and Alexa versus Bayley and Lyra, because they've got this big tag match that's coming up. So they got to keep doing that. And then you had Charlotte and Alexa essentially one clean, hitting a double natural selection on Bayley and Lyra. So they kind of made them look like chumps. They made them look like chumps. Immediately got attacked by the Irresistible Forces, and the champs stood tall. Again, by the book stuff, but surprising that they won pretty cleanly, and from my perspective, somewhat dominantly over Bayley and Lyra with the finish. Like, the match itself was competitive. It was just like, we're going to double hit double finishers on you guys, and mirrored finishers, and then win. So it was fine.
Yeah, I agree.
And then after this, it was all right. After this, we had Danhausen out offering to lift the curse on The Miz and Kit Wilson, because The Miz and Kit Wilson got a tag title match earlier, which that was funny because R-Truth was talking about how he thought Danhausen was Asuka. Yeah. So that was earlier on, and he gave a tag title match to The Miz and Kit Wilson. So Danhausen offered to lift the curse if he would let them walk them down, or he would double curse them. So The Miz refused, and of course Danhausen vanished. So obviously he's double cursed, is what it sounds like. R-Truth and Priest versus Miz and Kit Wilson for the tag titles. Again, this is where the WWE hates real tag teams, because The Miz and Kit Wilson aren't a real tag team either. This, however, I will give a pass on, because this one was actually very fun. And it was fun in all the kind of ridiculous, stupid ways that I love pro wrestling. So towards the end of the match, we'll just cut to the chase here. Danhausen's music hit and he came down. He was kind of doing the Obafemi walk coming down, which is funny. And then he went to the corner and he was like looking to get tagged in from The Miz. The Miz, of course, refused. But then R-Truth jumped over and tagged him in. And when Danhausen was in the ring, he was trying to curse the Miz, and then he accidentally cursed the ref. And then the Miz tried to hit the skull crushing finale on Danhausen, and the lights went out and he disappeared. And then he hit the skull crushing finale, the Miz did, on R-Truth, and he was about to get the win as the ref counts 1, 2, and then he got a cramp in his arm, and his arm stuck up in the air, and he couldn't count to 3 because he got a cramp in his arm. Damian Priest was then able to hit the end of days and got the pin, where the ref had to count his left arm because his right arm was still incapacitated. It was one of those moments that it was so dumb when it happened that it made me laugh out loud, because I loved stupid things like that. Like, this is the silliness level of what was it? The snake thing with Santino Marella, where he would do the Cobra.
Yeah.
Like the Cobra stuff, like that whole one of my favorite segments of all time was when they had the flute and he was doing the charming.
Oh yeah,
the Cobra's getting control.
Jinder Mahal was charming
Jinder Mahal was charming it, and he was like, and it was so dumb that it was like, this is my kind of dumb. So this thing was absolutely perfect. Yes.
Danhausen, I'm telling y'all, I told y'all from the beginning, Danhausen is awesome, and everyone's been. If you look at the comments and a lot of the social media stuff, people are asking when Danhausen is going to wrestle, because he actually can wrestle. He's a really good wrestler.
He can totally wrestle.
But I love this stuff. I love how he came out and Miz was like about to tag him and then caught on and was like, wait a minute, you're not in this match. And then R-Truth being the one to tag him in was so great. And then him coming into like, thunderous, like a roar of the crowd. The crowd was ecstatic to have him in the match.
Like he got a hot tag from R-Truth.
Yes, hilarious. So great. And then just cursing the ref. And even the ref was like, why did you do that? And Danhausen was like, you got cursed. And just the arm getting, I just loved it. I loved every bit of this. This was a good refresh.
It was so silly, but it was perfect. Like everything about it was absolute. Like, this is when pro wrestling's dumb but fun. Like, it's supposed to be fun. So this was all kinds of fun. But then right after that, Cody Rhodes ran down to the ring and just attacked Get Wilson and went on a tear and cut a promo that felt completely unplanned, which I'm hearing that it was like completely spontaneous and unplanned as a response to like the Pat McAfee thing. So it just kind of came off
about AEW.
It was kind of weird. Basically he just said The Rock could kiss his ass, and he tried to get as personal and push the limits as much as he possibly could. So this felt a little disjointed and odd and thrown in, probably just because it was.
He probably got his feelings hurt because of the jabs they took. I don't think he knew that Pat McAfee was gonna say some of those things, and he said, you're gonna fire me. We all know how that went, implying that he just built AEW with it's just.
It was just it came off as odd, and the funny thing too is I don't think it helped that this week like you did have Chris Jericho return to AEW, which shut the door on him coming back to WWE, because that was the other thing they were teasing. Oh, is he going to do one final run? He's getting himself in the best shape of his life, and then he came out at AEW and was like, "Hey, I'm home." And it was like, oh, he totally burned them and returned to AEW versus going back to WWE. So I think it just hasn't been a good week for them.
Maybe. I love the meme that came out for that. I saw where it says Triple H on the phone, and he said, "All right, Jericho, all right, Chris, we're gonna have you come back, and you're gonna bet your career against Gunther in a Saturday Night Main Event to lose." And then it cuts to AEW is my home.
Exactly. Well, that probably did happen, unfortunately.
I'm sure it did. But yeah, I mean, it was okay. Again, it's like, Cody, just make him a heel already. He got booed so bad anyway.
He's been a heel this whole time anyway. Yeah. Like, he really has been a heel for like the last years. Like, just steer into it. Yeah. Well, but it's the reluctance to do that. Yeah. It's Cody's clearly acting like a heel. Just make him a heel. Yeah. Trick Williams is clearly loved by the crowd. But he's a heel. Love him, and he's a heel. Randy Orton is clearly loved by the crowd. Just don't force him to be a heel. Stop trying to make people think and respond the way that you want.
They're not going to get booed. I'm sorry, but they're not. Like, I don't. I think there's.
Well, nor should they. Like, they have organically gotten over. Just let him.
Their
be.
charisma's carrying them. Like, just let them. So.
Speaking of charisma, no. The U.S. Championship match was our main event. Sami Zayn versus Carmelo Hayes. Trick Williams ringside to observe. Wasn't a super long match by the time they got through all the entrances and everybody coming down. Basically, kind of at the end of the match, you had the referee checking on Carmelo Hayes because he had like hurt his leg, and so he was checking to see if he was going to be okay. And then as soon as the ref like stopped checking, Sammy ran over and hit the haluva kick and won, which is correct. I was like, oh my gosh, the ref was checking on him. I was like, no, the ref actually broke and the match was still continuing. So
Yeah.
Sammy actually was not at fault here. Like he waited until the referee backed off, and then he ran to hit the haluva kick and then got the pin and won. And everyone was like on commentary trying to run him down as he like cheated because the ref was checking. I was like, no, the ref broke and walked away.
Yeah, I
So
think that's the thing here. That's the story that they're building with Sam. And I kind of touched on it earlier, was saying how he's just so desperate to get that spotlight. And now that he's tasting it, it's changing his moral compass, so to
yeah.
speak. Right. And so that's kind of, because any good face would have just let the ref make sure that he's good, and then then continue when the ref told him to continue. But because he didn't, he just took it. He was being an opportunist that they're telling him that he should be, and that's what this is.
Well, yes, but also here's the other thing too is Cody Rhodes did that to Sammy and didn't get any heat for it.
Oh yeah.
Randy Orton's done that to everybody and didn't get any heat for it when he did it. So the fact that people would be like, "How dare Sammy?" I was like, "Come on!" Like you can't have selective outrage about this on commentary. You can't say, "Well, Cody's just doing whatever it takes to win. He understands what it means to be the champion." When Sammy does it, like, "Sammy, you're the worst human being ever. Get out of here, Ginger, Ginger Snap, Ginger Veer." And it's like, "Geez, guys, let's cut Sammy a little bit
all
of
of them
slack.
out there. Let's do that."
All the Gingers are coming at him, but and that was basically he won the match, but then Trick Williams and who is it? Little Cheesy or something? What's
Little Yachty.
Little Yachty. Little Cheesy. Little Yachty got in and beat him up and stood tall, and that was kind of it. So I'm guessing we're going to have Little Yachty at WrestleMania, I'm assuming, as well.
Yeah.
There's way too. I know so before people get in the comments start going, WrestleMania since the beginning has been about celebrity cameos. It's like, yeah, I know, but not 100 celebrity cameos. We don't need a cameo for celebrities like in every single match. Let's do a couple. Like I was always a fan of, you have like the one celebrity match, and you know, obviously you had like Mr. T involved in like the first WrestleMania, and then you have
Mike Tyson, special guest.
You had like Floyd Mayweather against the Big Show. Like you have like the one special attraction one. But don't have like a WrestleMania. Don't have a celebrity in every single feud and every single match. Like let's lighten that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the WrestleMania card is pretty stacked now, so I'm gonna quickly run it down for everybody. It's gonna be, bear with me here. First, we have no particular order. We had the CM Punk versus Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the Undisputed title. Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. WWE Women's Champion Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. John Cena will be hosting Obafemi with Brock Lesnar. Women's Intercontinental match between AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre in an unsanctioned match. We got promos for both of those actually on SmackDown. United States Championship, Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams, of course, barring if Carmelo Hayes doesn't get involved. And then we have the Intercontinental Championship ladder match of Penta versus Javon Evans versus Dragon Lee versus JD McDonough versus Rusev. That is going to be a banger of a match.
That should be cool. Yeah.
Another banger is going to be Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Just a straight feud. And then the 4 teams to battle it out for the Women's Tag Team Championship, the Fatal 4-Way. You have the Irresistible Forces, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, Bayley and Lyra, and the Bellas.
Yeah.
Stacked card. And I'm assuming we'll get Logan Paul and Austin Theory either rematching defending Usos or defending the titles somehow.
Yeah. And you know what's wild about that? I think the 2 matches I am the most excited about is Lesnar versus Obafemi, obviously. Like that's number 1. And then Finn Balor versus Dom.
I'll say 3.
Those are the ones I'm really excited about. And then the ladder, the IC ladder match, obviously.
Yeah, those are the 3 I'm super stoked for, and I'll probably just be watching for it because, I mean, we can go over. I'm gonna do some more digging. I gotta do some more research.
Yeah, we'll go over predictions. We're closer, not quite there yet. We're still 2 weeks out. But I mean, those are the ones that I'm looking forward. All the rest, I've got a little fatigue on, or I'm not super. And then of course we have we said Gunther versus Seth Rollins, right?
Seth Rollins versus Gunther.
Okay. I don't know.
I missed that one. That's my bad. Yeah.
So it's, for me, I'm not wildly excited about the whole card. Like this feels like it's heading towards a letdown for me for like a 2-day event, especially for something as big as WrestleMania. But we'll see. I mean, there's going to be time to continue to build anticipation, but those are the 3 matches that I'm really looking forward to. And I just really hope and you know what's funny, kind of knowing how Brock Lesnar is, watch Lesnar Obafemi be like the first match on day one.
Yeah.
Because he just wants to get done and get out of there. And I'm going to be like, man, please don't mess this up. I'm fine with you going on first. If you want to go on first and get it done, like, but please make it good.
Yeah. I'm hoping they do it. I'm excited.
Well, that's what we have for this week, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments. What match are you most looking forward to seeing at WrestleMania? Leave it in the comments. Let us know. We always love to hear from all of you. So that's what we got for this week. Until next time, I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been El Commandante Daryl Ortiz. Have a great week, everyone.